If you're still watching and you haven't subscribed, you're already part of this story. Hit subscribe right now. And in the comments, tell me what time it is where you are. I want to see something. Day 49. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. The garage door remains shut. Her house stands exactly as she left it, or exactly as someone needed it to look. Law enforcement agencies are working around the clock to decode a silence so precise, so calculated, it could only have been engineered. The public narrative calls this a residential disappearance. The digital forensics tell an entirely different story. Sometime in the early morning hours of February 1st, two separate electronic systems went offline. Simultaneously. The first, a residential doorbell camera, installed specifically to monitor every inch of exterior movement around her home. The second, a medical pacemaker. The same pacemaker beating inside the chest of an 84-year-old woman. These two systems did not fail gradually. They did not flicker, stutter, or degrade. They terminated, together, in a single, mathematically precise moment. That synchronization is not a coincidence. Federal investigators know it. Forensic analysts know it. And now, you need to know it too. How does an unidentified intruder successfully neutralize an external residential security network while simultaneously silencing an internal biometric device surgically implanted inside a living human being? This is not a standard missing persons case. This is a targeted erasure. To understand the impossibility of what happened, you first need to understand who Nancy Guthrie is, and what it would physically take to make her disappear. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. Her daily life requires specific accommodations for limited physical mobility. She does not move quickly. She does not move far without assistance. Her world was deliberately structured around safety, around monitoring, around preservation, around the guarantee that if something went wrong, someone would know immediately. The pacemaker implanted in her chest was not just a medical device. It was a live connection, transmitting continuous cardiac telemetry to external medical servers around the clock. A digital lifeline. A biological tracking system. A guarantee that no cardiac event would go undetected, unrecorded, or unresponded to. The doorbell camera mounted at her Catalina Foothills home was her outer perimeter. The pacemaker was her inner failsafe. An elderly woman with restricted mobility does not walk away from her residence in the middle of the night. The architecture of her home, specifically designed around her physical profile, presents significant navigational challenges. Leaving the property requires either sustained physical exertion or the direct assistance of a motorized vehicle. Every system surrounding Nancy Guthrie existed for one purpose, to make her disappearance impossible. Someone understood that. And they planned accordingly. The final verified data point is this. At 9:50 p.m. on January 31st, Tommaso Cian drove his mother-in-law home to her Catalina Foothills residence following a standard family dinner. The physical transfer from vehicle to interior was completed without incident. The garage door closed successfully behind them. The perimeter was secured. The evening protocols were followed exactly as normal. That is the last confirmed interaction between Nancy Guthrie and her family. Sometime before dawn on February 1st, everything changed. By Sunday morning, her absence triggered the first alarm, not from a sensor, not from a camera, not from her pacemaker. From a missed church service. An online worship session she attended every single week without fail. That deviation from routine sent her family to her door. Law enforcement conducted a preliminary physical inspection of the residence. What they found was a cascade of contradictions. No forced entry. No broken windows. No structural damage. No signs of a struggle inside the home. But on the exterior concrete of the front porch, blood. Confirmed by laboratory analysis to belong to Nancy Guthrie. Her DNA. Outside a locked, undisturbed house. With no explanation for how it got there. The investigating officers moved immediately to pull the doorbell camera footage. The storage was empty. The system had been neutralized before the biological event on the porch ever occurred. They contacted the medical provider to pull pacemaker telemetry, expecting a precise timestamp of her physiological distress. The medical data stream had been severed during the exact same chronological window. The digital void was absolute. Hey, if you're finding this breakdown valuable, drop a comment below with your theory on what happened that night. We read every single one. And if you haven't already, like this video and subscribe to Cold Case Unearthed. We track the real-time forensic data on cases like this so you don't have to do it alone. Before the blackout, the cameras captured something. Forensic analysts recovered archived surveillance files from January 11th and January 24th, weeks before the disappearance. On both dates, a distinct human silhouette appears at the extreme outer perimeter of the property line. The figure moves with deliberate, calculated precision. It is not wandering. It is not lost. It is mapping. Analyze the ambient illumination in the January 11th footage. Study the shadow projection. Now cross-reference the angle of those shadows with the fragments recovered closest to the disappearance. The ambient light matches the exact lunar phase of both recorded nights. This perpetrator did not stumble onto this property. They tracked the lunar cycle. They identified the camera blind spots. They mapped the surveillance architecture of this home weeks in advance, using available moonlight as their only tool. And then, on the night they chose to act, they executed with perfect precision. The doorbell camera and the pacemaker monitor failed at the exact same millisecond. Not the same minute. Not the same hour. The same millisecond. Federal investigators are currently evaluating two mutually exclusive explanations for the simultaneous system failure. Scenario 1. The perpetrator carried a portable electromagnetic frequency jamming device capable of projecting localized interference across both the residential wireless network and the secure medical telemetry frequency simultaneously. A device of this capability would be exceptionally bulky, requiring a high-yield battery array and specialized antenna configuration. Scenario 2. Nancy Guthrie experienced a fatal cardiac event on the exterior porch, and the pacemaker's termination was not a technological disruption. It was a biological one. The data cannot currently distinguish between these two scenarios. What it can confirm is this: the signal did not degrade. It did not fade. It did not slow. It stopped. Completely. In a single abrupt and mathematically precise moment. 2 miles from the primary scene, search teams operating on a standardized grid recovered a single glove. Laboratory technicians processed the textile and successfully isolated a foreign biological sample. The DNA profile extracted from that glove belongs to an unidentified male subject, a profile currently present in no criminal database. This glove introduces a severe spatial contradiction. The primary crime scene is defined by flawless technological execution and zero physical disruption. The secondary location features a glaring physical error, discarded evidence completely disconnected from the digital blackout. Either the suspect made a critical error during a chaotic tactical retreat, or the glove was placed deliberately, a calculated deposit of contaminated biological material designed to redirect federal search resources across multiple square miles of open desert terrain. A perpetrator who tracks lunar cycles and plans reconnaissance weeks in advance does not accidentally drop a glove. That detail has to be reconciled. The optical fragments recovered milliseconds before the camera failure captured something critical. The silhouette at the perimeter is not empty-handed. The visual data confirms a specific inventory of tactical equipment. Dark clothing engineered to absorb ambient environmental light. A ski mask completely obscuring all identifying facial geometry. Heavy gloves eliminating the probability of accidental fingerprint deposition. A visible firearm holster, indicating a willingness to deploy lethal force. An Ozark Trail 25L backpack. That last item is the forensic anomaly that stops every analyst cold. A standard rapid extraction operation relies on speed and absolute minimal physical encumbrance. A bulky nylon backpack is a tactical liability. It degrades mobility. It creates noise. It increases physical exposure time at the scene. So why does a solitary operator carry significant storage capacity during a human abduction? The 25-liter capacity of that backpack is large enough to house a portable electromagnetic jamming device with its battery array. It is also large enough to contain chemical agents for biological evidence sanitization, or materials used to systematically decontaminate a crime scene. The authorities cannot confirm the internal contents from available visual data. What they can confirm is that it was there, and that it was intentional. Then the cryptocurrency demands arrived. Anonymous digital transmitters requested a $6 million ransom payment routed through decentralized Bitcoin networks. Federal cyber agents are currently analyzing the routing protocols to determine their geographic origin. Here is the critical behavioral contradiction. A kidnapping for ransom operation fundamentally relies on clear communication and verifiable proof of life. These transmitters have provided zero verifiable evidence that Nancy Guthrie is alive. More critically, if the primary objective was always financial leverage, the total suppression of the digital footprint was unnecessary. Erasing the pacemaker telemetry, neutralizing the camera, eliminating every trace of the extraction, none of that serves a ransom strategy. It actively undermines one. Behavioral analysts are treating the cryptocurrency demands as a potential tactical distraction, digital noise designed to redirect federal resources away from the true primary search zone. The motive fracture in this case is profound. Two questions define the current state of this investigation. Question 1. What exact sequence of physical events produced the blood pattern on that exterior porch? The forensic technicians cannot determine whether the injury occurred before or after the camera failure. If before, why did the optical sensors not capture it? If after, how did the perpetrator control the immediate environment with such absolute precision? Question 2. Did the pacemaker record a catastrophic cardiac event in the final milliseconds before the external connection was severed? The engineers at the medical device company are attempting to reconstruct the final telemetry sequence, searching for delayed or fragmented data packets trapped somewhere in the server architecture. If those final packets are recovered, they will provide an absolute biological timestamp for the initiation of the physical assault. They will permanently resolve the debate between a technological blackout and a fatal medical event. The resolution of this disappearance will not come from the desert. It will come from a single decrypted file. A successfully triangulated cellular signal. Or a fragmented data packet finally surfacing from a compromised medical server. Until that digital breakthrough occurs, Nancy Guthrie remains a silence on a monitoring screen that has not updated in 49 days. What this case teaches us. A residential smart home is only as secure as its most vulnerable wireless frequency. A sophisticated adversary does not need to physically destroy a camera. They only need to interrupt the invisible communication protocol linking the device to the server. When biological survival depends on a continuous digital connection, that connection becomes the primary target. This case proves that digital walls can be dismantled without a single sound being recorded. Physical deadbolts and hardwired surveillance systems are not optional redundancies. They are essential protections that wireless convenience has quietly eliminated from modern homes. The seamless integration of medical technology and home security has created an entirely new threat vector, one that this perpetrator exploited with terrifying efficiency. The pacemaker went silent. The cameras went dark. And somewhere out there, a 25-liter backpack is still holding answers the FBI never found. So let me ask you, do you think those final telemetry packets will ever be recovered, or did they disappear with whoever walked away? Drop your theory in the comments. And tell me where you're watching from, city and country. I'm tracking how far this case has reached. If you're seeing this, you're early. So subscribe. Right now. Because when this case finally cracks open, the people who were here first are the only ones who will understand what really happened. Cold Case Unearthed, tracking the data. Chasing the truth. Always.